Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicappers Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Eds, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Saturday, May the 6th races at Hastings. We have 7 live races on the Hastings program that does start at 1:50. But of course, all eyes will be on Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, 142nd
Kentucky Derby Day. It doesn't get any bigger in our sport than Kentucky Derby Day. We will touch on that a little later. There's some interesting local connections, and of course, Mario Gutierrez going for his 3rd Derby aboard IRAP. He's undefeated. He's a perfect 2 for 2. He won in 2012 with I'll Have Another, and then last year with Nyquist going for his 3rd Derby. Who would have thought?
Perfect 2 for 2.
6 years ago when he was riding here, Mario, 3 years later, or 6 years later, he's going for his 3rd Derby.
Getting the hat trick.
Unbelievable. 7 races on tap at Hastings. Let's jump right into those. Kicks off, Mike said, at 150. First race is a maiden $8,000 claimant event for fillies and mares. Field of 7. I landed on the 4-horse here. Such a bargain. Mark Kluche's horse has been running well early on this meet. Of course, we had a lot of trouble with training conditions here this winter.
That's an understatement.
Which is an understatement. Mark, training out at Canmore Farms, probably got a little bit more base into these horses than some of these other trainers had the luxury of getting. That's why his horses are running good early. I like Such a Bargain. Decent numbers last year, was running okay. Good second for 12.5. Good 47-4 leading into this. Gets top rider Enrique Gonzalez. I got Such a Bargain on top of Halloween Queens. Talk about good starts. Rob Mabin off to a smoking start. This girl, a good 3rd in her first start.
Right.
Kelson ran 2nd. He was one of our top 2-year-old boys last year. Tried her in the Sadie Dime Futurity. Then a maiden special. We went to the sidelines. Good minute, or 101 and 4 work. And as I mentioned, Rob Mabin's horse is running very well. She looks to be my second pick in a not overly tough field here. And I put Why Is It My Fault, the Greg Tracy runner. He thought enough of this girl to run her 4 times last year, all in maiden special weights at Northwoods Park. Kicks off this year, 4-8,000 with Richard Hamill on the irons. My 3rd spot. 4-5-7 for me.
Yeah, I have the same 3. I don't have a lot to add. I did put Halloween Queen on top.
I could have done that.
A string of 3 consecutive 101 and change works. The only time she was in against the fillies was in the Sadie Diamond Futurity, running against the boys in the other 2 races. I know she was well beaten in her races, but still, this is by far the easiest competition she's going to have faced in her career. Yeah. Romario Saunders rides again for Rob Mabin. Agree with the 4, Such a Bargain. Could be the speed of the party. Look for her to be pretty dangerous in the 7. Why Is It My Fault? Might not be her best distance. Looks like she's got no speed, but you can tell towards the end of the year that something must have happened. The horse walked, didn't finish, walked off. I mean, there's something going on there, and perhaps a nice 47-1 work out of the gate. Maybe she'll be a different filly. Maybe whatever ailments that caused her to have no speed, she may show a little bit more in this race, and it's encouraging to see last year's leading rider Richard Hamill aboard. So I got to go 5, 4, and 7 in the Saturday opener. Race number 2, feature race, $35,000 fillies and mares, going 6.5 furlongs. I think the 4 Omi is the horse to beat. I don't think there's any question there. She looks to be the speediest runner. She's a 4-year-old filly that was running against straight 3-year-olds last year, but still her speed must be respected. But I did go to the 3 bonus spin. She's the proven horse with older horses. I'm not crazy about her abbreviated campaign over the last 2 years. She's only had 11 lifetime starts, and she's 6 years old. But she's pretty nice, and I liked what I've seen of her this spring. Her final prep in 59-4, which prior to that was a minute and change. She's working well for Rosie Anderson, and Antonio Reyes will ride. I think this horse can take a pretty good trip sitting just in behind the speed. So I'll put bonus spin on top over Omi, and I put the 1 Cherokee and Me. It's probably better suited to longer distances, claimed by Peter Redicott, one of many you'll see in the next few weeks that Peter's claimed to ship to the Phil Hall barn. This one could come running on late if these fillies stop, but I went 3, 4, and 1. I did leave out Fire Beauty would be another one I'd give honorable mention to. She's always pretty solid in these sprint races, and I'd give her a mention too. But I did go 3, 4, 1.
I'm just scared of Omi. I know she was running against tougher fillies last year, but they were fillies. And now she jumps in against older mares, and that's what scares me off of her.
I think she's the lone speed.
She could be gone. She could be gone.
I like the 3.
Susan Stay has speed. I put Cherokee and Me. These horses that Peter Redicott has been claiming down in California, they're coming up here, race fit.
Yeah.
These horses that have been racing are extremely dangerous. We saw that over the first 2 days of racing, the last 2 Sundays. And I gotta go with Cherokee and Me. She's race fit. And as I mentioned, with the problems we had with training this spring, these horses that are race fit are
They didn't have to deal with it. They're ready.
They're
coming
even
in.
further ahead than they would be in a normal year. So that's why I'm going with Cherokee
good
and
point.
me.
Good point. Yeah.
On top of Susan's Day, whenever she's in around this price, she's always very dangerous. She's got good early lick. 9 times at Hastings. She's 6 times in the money. She's decent over a wet track. She's 5 out of 6 at the distance. I like Susan's Day. She's been training forwardly. We did see Forrester and Perez already team up for a win earlier this year. And I put Bonus Spin in for third. She does fire fresh early, and another one that's good at the distance. So I got 1, 2, 3. Nice and easy for me in the second. On the third, Maiden 16, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. And I went to Imposing Cat. Liz Stolensberg trades for Glenn Todd's North American Thoroughbred. Horse Company looked very good last year. She got a brutal trip last year. Got bumped around.
Yeah.
I thought the horse that beat her should have actually come down because she did impede her quite a bit. Been working very forwardly here. That was for 16 last year, which makes her eligible to run, not for the price. That's the key
That's
here.
the big, yeah.
Right, she works a minute flat out of the gate. Looks to be really on her toes. I got Imposing Cat on top. I put Jackson Teller in the second spot. Another one that comes in from Santa Anita, Race Fit. This was a coin toss for me between the 7 and the 4. I landed on the 4. Got 7. Greg Tracy, another guy off to a great start. And as I mentioned, I can't stress enough, horses that come in here running. If this guy come in here off that race in February, where he ran second behind Kenji Savior, came back to win again, he'd be my top pick. I'm a little worried of that next race. It was going to mile 16th, so he does go back to 6 furlongs. But 6 by 17, that one scared me off him a little bit, enough to put him in second. And I put Liquid Metal, talented colt of the Barb Heads Barn. Love that first race out of him last year. And if he can repeat that effort, that was against horses that have run a bunch too. Torneador, good as they get. Tough horses. That was a big effort from him in his first start. If he fires off the bench, he could be a handful in here under Enrique Gonzalez. 4, 7, and 8 for me.
I have the same 3. I put Imposing Cat. It is a 3-year-old, which is always a little dangerous here at Hastings.
Yeah.
The 4-year-olds have more seasoning. The 7, Jackson Taylor, and the 8, Liquid Metal. So this is a little more even race than I think it looks like on paper. But Imposing Cat has been training well, looks the part. If we didn't have the waiver claiming rule, this horse would be in a maiden allowance race.
He would not be in for 16, yeah.
This horse would be in for no price in a maiden special weight race and be pretty dangerous. But he does hook into a couple of 4-year-olds out here with some experience and a pretty good resume. I mean, Jackson Taylor's at least been running at the show in Southern California. And
it is for 20, which is their bottom.
Which is their bottoms, but
we
doesn't
still see
look
good
like
horses
a sprinter.
come out of there, yeah.
He doesn't look like a sprinter. He's got no speed, and that's the only one thing that concerns me. But his final prep was very good in a minute and change. And same for Liquid Metal, another one that worked well in his final work. But he did run against some pretty good horses last year in the maiden special weights. Injured himself on May 29th, was given the rest of the year off, and has come back almost off a whole year of layoff. But is at a bit of a reduced price and running against a lot of 3-year-olds in here, which gives him a bit of an edge. But his work has been good. Enrique Gonzalez has looked excellent. I went 4, 8, and 7, but I agree with Imposing Cat. But I like them all. I think you need 3 horses.
I would take all
leg.
3, yeah.
Or the first leg of or second leg of the
Pick 3.
Sea to Sky Pick 6, which
6,
does
yes.
have a $1,400 carryover in that, if you're the lone winner. On to race number 4. We do have a field of 7 now. There is a scratch in number 3, Lord Rosberg in here. Former 2-year-old champion. Lord Rosberg is out. He is entered back and running on Sunday for a little more money. I went to the one Majestic Mark. I don't have any clever plays in here. He ran well first time out. He looks, he didn't get the best of trips. Overcame a lot. Was an easy second. 5 lengths almost back to the 3rd horse. He's not facing a stellar group. Majestic Mark at a short price for me. Put the 2-horse My Eye Candy in for second. Had a great season, winning 3 of 11 on the board and 9 of them.
3 in a row.
I know. Dan Jukic will love that. 9 of 11 in the money.
Yes, in the money.
And I put the 5-horse Power to Believe. I'm not going to give up on this horse after one subpar race. Richard Hamill doesn't either. He sticks with the horse.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. Anytime you see a poor effort from a horse and last year's leading rider sticks with the horse, that's an encouraging sign. Something happened.
Yeah.
It could have been anything. It just wasn't his day.
Yeah, he didn't say no thanks. He said, give me another try.
No, this horse wasn't feeling well or doesn't have any talent. This horse has been working far too well for Jody Rawson to run that poorly. But something happened, and Richard's willing to stick with the horse, so give that one a shot as well. I went 1, 2, 5.
I have very little to add. I got the same horses in the same same order. Majestic Mark looks very tough in here. Especially you got Wise Boss, Power to Believe,
Yeah, we got some speed.
Peyton's Bet, My Eye Candy. There's a fair bit of speed. It should set up just right for him. Majestic Mark, I think, is a standout in here. My Eye Candy, same reasons you mentioned. Can put wins together. Maven's off to a good start in the second spot, and Power to Believe. Richard Hamill 6th with. Same reasons, like the same horses as Mike, 1, 2, 5 for me in the 4th. On to the 5th. Thrills it up, 16 conditional race, non-2. 10 horses lined up in this one. Again, not an overly clever pick. This horse is probably going to be a favorite. I like Mighty Mesa in here. Does have an out already. This is a horse around the Derby last year. Just got beat a little over length by Dashing Dawn in a optional 25. Got beat by Colterbury. Was running against tough horses last year. Jumped into a nice field this year with It's in Command, BC Charlie Pfeiffer. That was a tough field opening weekend. Comes back. Last weekend, sorry. Comes back, and Nancy Betts' this horse off to a great start. So I'm going to go Mighty Mesa on top of a 3-year-old. This might be a little dangerous pick, but Hunter's Appeal out of the Mike Anderson barn. The last 2 years leading trainer, Mike Anderson. Just one race last year, looked very professional doing it, won it for fun. That was in a maiden 25. Went to the sidelines after that. I like his works this year. His last prep for this in 1 minute and 4/5. Enrique Gonzalez takes the call. That's good connections there. With a bit of a shot there. Hunter's Appeal in second. And I put Ebony Warrior, Liz Stolensberg, Marky Domenico, and Nat do on this 4-year-old son of Majestic Warrior. Another one that was running in fairly tough races last year against Pfeiffer and whatnot. Now he's in for the 16. He's eligible. And another one's been working forwardly to this. All Glenn's horse has been working very well this spring. I went 2, 6, and 4.
Yeah, I think Mighty Mesa is the horse to beat, but I think he's a vulnerable favorite. It's a big field.
No, I agree.
He doesn't have speed. I don't think he has the same sort of speed that he was showing in those maiden races last summer. His best race, I thought, last year was when running long when he was second, which earned him a start in the BC Derby when he ran second to Dashing Dawn.
Yeah, that was a big effort.
His sprints, he did lose at short odds. He continued to lose at short odds, and it just worries me. I can see him winning, but I mean, it just worries me because he's got no speed, and he's just a horse that I would generally play. If he beats me, he beats me.
I was pushed as well towards the way Nancy's horses have come out. How about Dazzling Dawn?
I know, that was like sensational.
Yeah.
And Richard Hamill was aboard that one.
Yeah.
I went to the one Sunset Drive. Pretty impressed with his sprint efforts. His 2 fourth place finishes, last couple of fourth place finishes were going along. He did lose to Mighty Mesa by about a length after going wide the entire trip at a mile and 16. I just think this horse is a better sprinter, and maybe he'll get his revenge on Mighty Mesa. But his work tab's been very good. He's drawn favorably. It's only 6 furlongs. The rail's a good draw. I'm going to try the 1 to beat the 2, and I put the 7 Omega Victory, who's another one back in a better spot. The 16 on 3s. He's got speed. Had a brutal trip. Was 4 wide in that open 25 claimer. This is all big drop for both the 2 and 7. I went 1, 2, 7 in race number 5. On to the 6th race, Fillies and Mares, and onwards a 3 Lifetime. Going 6 panels. I ended up on the 5 Zygo and working the lights out in the mornings for trainer Eric Gutierrez, who is the assistant for Mel Snow. Yeah, no, that was crazy. Looks like the speed of the race, too. I don't see any speed in here. Jazz didn't have the same kind of speed that she usually does. I think it's between the 5 Zygo and the 7 Jazz. I put the 4 horse, Touch of Green with blinkers on, in for 3rd. Perhaps a better effort. I wish the race was a little longer, but I put her in
even
for
6.5, I would like Touch of Green better. I'm with you.
Zygo, at this distance, with that work tab, should be pretty tough. 5, 7, 4.
Again, not much to add. I like Zygo, that 50. I went with Jazz, and I went back and looked at it, and the 58 and 4, I moved to Zygo. But those are the 2 I think you would have in your multi-race tickets. Zygo and Jazz, 5, 7, and I'm the same with you. I put Touch of Green. There should be a fair bit of heat up front. There always is with Zygo in a race, and that should set up well.
He's versatile. He doesn't need the lead, but he can set a pace.
She's better.
She can set the pace.
Yeah, she's better on the lead.
Yeah.
Same horses, 5, 7, and 4 for me. On to the nightcap, 3-year-old and up, 4,000 non-winners of the year. Field of 8 in here. Going 6 furlongs. I landed on the 7 Ace Deuce, Phil Hall. Another one, I mean, not an incredibly impressive form coming in here.
No.
The run for 62.50 at Golden Gate.
Miling, but still.
3rd, 5
classier.
going long, but, a tough old horse and been running. And I go back to it again. I just don't think you can overestimate what an advantage that is this year even more so than other
Right.
years. That's why I've landed on Ace Deuce, Top Connections, Phil Hall, Enrique Gonzalez. Put some Milkameen Luke, probably be your favorite in here. He's got a race under his belt.
A very
And a good
one.
second behind
Yeah,
Cedarburg. Cedarburg's back in on Sunday. I think we both picked him.
Yeah,
I picked
we both
Cedarburg right
picked
back on Sunday
Cedarburg
for
for
62.50. So Similkameen Luke. Those are the two for me, 7 and 3. And through Wiley's command in, Harold's off to a good start. Amadeo Perez takes the call for Hall of Fame trainer Harold Barabee. 7, 3, and 1 for me in the nightcap.
Yeah, I went to the 3 Similkameen Luke. I don't see a pile of speed in here. I think this horse can make its way to the front end. If it runs a race like it once again 6 furlongs, we're still stuck at the 6 furlong trip. Hopefully we'll get to the 6.5 for the rest of the year. But Similkameen Luke looked good running second to Cedarburg. Big gap back to a very accomplished last season reward too, who's no slouch. So Similkameen Luke ran way too good to lose.
Yeah.
Just hooked into a horse that had been running.
Another one
Cedarburg had been running in Phoenix, and just unlucky. This is the best horse. I put the 7 Ace Deuce, who may be the best horse on paper with the numbers and everything, but still, he looks like he wants to run a little farther.
Yeah, I like those are the two, I think. Yeah.
And to put the 4 across the line, a former California Derby winner, into the mix as well. He looks like he's been training well. A lot of times these little horses that have a little nagging problems tend to run their best races first time out off a big layoff when they've been rested up. So
Actually, yeah, your horses coming out of California that tend to run and run and run and run and run.
they
They come up
finally
here,
get a break
get a
in
year
there.
off.
This horse didn't get much of a break last year, so he's looked good this spring. I'm going to put him in for third. I went 3, 7, and 4 to close out the Saturday program. Well, that'll do it for our analysis of the Hastings races. We will quickly
We'll do our
recap
picks,
those
yeah.
before we head off to Kentucky for the our Kentucky Derby picks. Next up on screen, here we go. There's my picks. Back in race number 1, I went to the 5 Halloween Queen, 5, 4, 7. Race number 2, I went to the 3 bonus spin. I'm going to go 3, 4, and 1. Race number 3, the 4 Imposing Cat, taking advantage of the waiver claiming rules. Gets in it for no price, 4, 8, and 7. Race number 4 went to the 1 Majestic Mark, probably your best bet of the day. Looks pretty good, 1, 2, 5. Race number 5 went to the 1 Sunset Drive, bit of an upset. I like all 3 horses though, 1, 2, and 7. Race number 6, I went to the 5 Zygo over the 7 Jazz and the 4 Touch of Green. Race number 7, close it out. Another one I quite like, speed going 6, pretty dangerous. That's the 3 Similkameen Luke. And that's 3, 7, and 4. On to Drew's picks.
Up next, my picks. There we go. In the first, I went to the 4, Such a Bargain, over the 5 and the 7. In the second, I went to the 1, Cherokee and Me, over the 2 and the 3. In the third, I went to the 4, Imposing Cat, over the 7 and the 8. In the fourth, number 1, Majestic Mark, over the 2 and the 5. In the fifth, number 2, Mighty Mesa, over the 6 and the 4. In the sixth, I agree with Mike on number 5, Zygo, over the 7 and the 4. And the nightcap, I went to the 7, Ace Deuce, over the 3 and the 1.
Okay, that'll do it for our Hastings 7 races. Once again, 150 posts, but the biggest race of the day, of course, will be at 3:46. The Kentucky Derby, 3:46 our time. We'll have a bit of a break between our 4th and 5th races at Hastings. We'll quickly touch on our
Sink your
picks
teeth
for
into this one.
Yeah,
20
no,
horses.
20 of them. 2 waiting to get in.
And wide open, too. This is a year where you could see a big price.
5 pages.
And I've gone with a big price.
I went to the 5, Always Dreaming. Pretty impressed of the 3 races. The only thing he lacks is seasoning. I don't think the distance will bother him. He ran extremely well at Gulfstream. Perhaps overlooked because they didn't think he'd be enough speed because of his win in an optional claimer going a half and 51 and 3 and then 116. But he was very good. He cut close to the 47, 110 and 3 and ran on beautifully in the Florida Derby. He looked the part. He's worked back well. He's the horse for me.
I watched that work the other day online, and he was just like gliding. And,
he's pretty big horse too. Like he's quite a large. He's got a big, beautiful stride.
And he didn't want to pull up. He galloped out like half a mile. He just kept going.
The mile and a quarter shouldn't get to him. If he loses, it'll not be because of the mile and a quarter. It's just because he just didn't get a great trip or someone chased him into the ground. But I think he's pretty versatile. I think Todd Poucher and Johnny Velasquez got a pretty live one here. Put the 7 Gervin. 3 wins from 4 starts, gets Mike Smith. This horse ran a big race in Louisiana Derby, defeating Patch, and I put Patch in for third, the 20 horse. Patch might be one that can move forward. Yes, can move forward. Very lightly raced, another Todd Pletcher runner. I put that one in for third, but there's so much to just you can delve into a lot of horses in this race.
My advice
and really
is
dissect it.
Go deep.
But yeah, it's 20 horses and
it's not a year. There's no Pioneer of the Nile. There's no Nyquist in here.
No American Pharaoh. There's no standard at all.
American Pharaoh. I mean, not Pioneer of the Nile. his stallion. Yeah, no Nyquist, no American Pharoah. This is a year where I think it's going to be a big price, and I went with a big price. I also kind of went for the horses connected to Vancouver in some way. I went to Looking at Lee because I think there's lots of pace.
Yep.
He's a good closer. That race in the Arkansas Derby, he was flying at the end. He had to change position about 3 or 4 times down the lane looking for room, and he only got beat a length and a quarter by Classic Empire, who will be one of your favorites. I think it's a real value play with Looking at Lee. I talked to my brother actually about an hour before we taped this today, and he said it's raining there. It's supposed to rain a lot tomorrow, maybe a little bit of a break on Sunday, but I'm expecting a muddy track. He ran over the mud at Churchill one time. That was in the Iroquois.
Iroquois.
Yeah,
Iroquois, yeah.
I knew I was going to get that wrong. Last year, the grade 3, behind Not This Time.
Yeah.
He was one of the highest regarded 2-year-olds in the nation last year.
I loved him in the juvenile.
Yeah.
He got beat by Classic Empire.
Got beat barely by Classic Empire. So I'm going with Looking at Lee. There's a local connection. Langara Last was trained here by Dave Forster. So was the Grand Dam.
Ray Hansen.
Capilano. Ray Hansen bred this son of Looking at Lucky. He's gone to the Derby, as is my dad. They're both there. Looking at Lee on top of Mario. I'm putting Mario in for second. There's a fair bit of speed in here, but this horse is on his game right now. And Mario, a perfect 2 for 2 in the Derby with Doug O'Neill and Paul Redham, looking to make it 3 in 6 years.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
How impressive is that? We'll all be rooting for Mario here. And I threw in McCracken. This is definitely a horse to be respected here. Was undefeated after the Sam Davis. Missed the Tampa Bay Derby. He had a bit of an ankle, so he missed some training, which could explain why he came up a little bit short in the Bluegrass. I know Ian Wilkes wasn't really cranking him up for that race.
This
he
is
just
the race
wanted
he's
to get him
cranked
in.
up for us.
He's cranked up for this. Of course, Mrs. Whittam. Jan Whittam owned horses here for years with my father, Dave Forster. She had a lot of nice stakes winners here at Hastings over the years, and great to see her with a horse in the Derby with a big shot. I went 1, 9, and 15 in a wide open 142nd Derby. Hope you all enjoy it.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
It's the race of the year.
Well, let's on screen, or it'll be a quick recap. Back in, I did go to the 5, the 7, and the 20. You just don't see them numbers every day.
No, you don't.
Like a Keno ticket or something. 5, 7, and 20. And Drew's picks.
I went to 1, Looking at Lee, 9, IRAP, and 15, McCracken.
1, 9, 15. All righty.
Brilliant.
Well, that'll do it for analysis
Saturday,
of the Kentucky Derby and Hastings races. Hopefully, everyone has a lot of fun. Should be a great simulcast day. If you're not going to Hastings, get out here to the Derby. I know it's very full, but still, it's a great atmosphere.
Come out, grab a pint, watch the race.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, the weather's nice out here. You can sit out in the patio as well. Just going to be a great afternoon. Hopefully, everyone enjoys Kentucky Derby number 142. On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on Handicappers Corner at the Derby Bar and Grill.